This is my 1942 Taylorcraft BC12-65, and we're going to do a little walk around. Hopefully it makes you really want to buy it as much as I don't want to sell it. It's probably worth mentioning just the hood here's got some cracks in it. I've had a couple of them repaired. Up along the top here, got some unpainted rivets, just because I had some work done at the last annual. These probably need to be addressed at some point, but they really haven't changed much over the last couple of years, so I don't consider them highly concerning as long as you don't leave it open and flapping in the breeze. It's an old airplane. There's the new work that was done to reinforce that. So it's the other side. A little bit of oil around this spark plug. Looks good there. Yeah, mags are tight. Let me grab the oil cap off here and I'll leave my Leatherman inside the engine compartment. So, nice black oil. There's no oil filter in these, so you gotta change the oil every 25 hours or so. Let's check the level. Oops, making a mess. All right, we're just about a quarter of a quart down. That's not bad. We can start it up with that. Clean up the oil in there. Alrighty. Make sure my hand is clean. So this airplane's been sitting in the hangar here for probably, well, I think it got flown a couple times earlier this year. But right now the annual is expired and everybody's backlogged, and I think COVID's making life difficult. So we're not flying it right now, but it's been flown this year. I didn't fly it this year though. My last flight was, I don't even remember, some point last year. Might even be last summer. Probably flew it in the fall. Too busy. All right, let's do a quick walk around. And the windshield's dirty. I'd clean it if I was getting ready to fly it. It's been sitting in the hangar collecting dust. Usually what I do with my walk around is start over here on the right side of the airplane and check out all of the bracing struts. These are the new struts that have the linseed oil inside of them, so they don't rust out. I think there's a AD out for that. Is that what it's called? I can't remember. Anyway, make sure all those things are attached properly. Check the pitot. It's got this nifty little cover. You don't see all that all the time. I've had issues with this tubing. If it gets a lot of sun on it, it'll degrade over time. I cut the bad part off and pulled it out and put it back on, and it's still good plastic, but something to be aware of. Might need to be painted. Check that leading edge. A lot of nice bugs. Make sure the wing's not getting ready to fall off. Got the airplane rocking real nice over there. That's what you want to see. Yep. Check the ailerons. Pins are all in place. Everything has a normal amount of play in it. Control arm looks good. Cotter pins in there. Looks good to me. I should check this tire. Probably need to put a little air in that tire. I got a fresh set of tires too. They might make me put it on. It's getting close before we get the annual. All right, back here at the tail, a lot of nice dust on here. This is just my trick. I like to check the tension just by listening to it. Make sure they're not changing. This little nut here is a fun one. Is that the one? Just a tiniest little bit of play in that. It's always been that way. I've asked my mechanic about it. They don't seem to think there's a concern there, but the other side doesn't do it. So I always just check it to make sure it's not changing, and it hasn't, so I think we're good. Make sure we got the full motion there. Trim tabs attached. I always look underneath just to make sure there's no holes. Seems like holes are bad. All the hinges are good on that side. Tail is attached. I got that wheel cranked over there. Let's get that straightened out. pick up the tail. Alrighty. All the control wires are normal. And springs for the wheel, tail wheel. I think this this guy's probably due for some attention. I don't know. Am I getting scratches? I think I just scratched my chin on the microphone. This side, checking the same thing. Looks good to me. Sounds the same. No holes. Always good to not have holes in the airplane. Play, cotter pins look good. Those look good. You can come get a shot up here just so people know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I can't. I was trying not to run into stuff.
You'll have to kneel, shoot up at it. Yep, so they're all the same except this one's got the control arm that comes in. Little ball joint there, and you want to make sure the wire's in place and the cotter pin's there. It's all right. And then just make sure, you know, wiggle it, make sure, just standard stuff, make sure it moves properly. That all looks good. Oh, you might want to get out from under that wing before I wiggle it. This wing's not falling off, firmly attached. Struts feel good, shrouds staying in place. I like playing the tire. That one feels like it's got a little more air in it than that other side. I would check my tires if I was gonna go fly. Anyway, that all looks good to me. Wooden prop, been pulling me just fine for a long time. I'm going to pull this through once and bring it up. And here's the other side. We do have a couple nicks in this blade. Go ahead and come in close here. These have been here for a while. It might be a couple new ones actually. I don't know why this blade is the only one that gets nicks, but this big one is the worst one. That one's been through several annuals. Nobody's complained about it, but there are a couple nicks in the leading edge. All right, so pretty basic, all steam gauges. We got the engine RPMs here, airspeed indicator. You've got your oil pressure. You're starting to sucker up, you want to keep an eye on that because if you don't get oil pressure, turn it off, that's a bad sign. Oil temperature, a little red line sticker on there. Never really have a problem with it unless I'm fully loaded and flying on a very hot day and just climbing forever. Down in Texas with 100 degrees, you might have a problem. Altimeter works. This is a clock that I've got the inoperative sticker over that's required for inoperative instruments. I don't use a clock in a Taylorcraft. I have my phone with me. Got a primer here, carb heat, throttle, what you'd expect, fuel, push to turn it on, pull to turn it off, and then cabin heat right next to the fuel. So if you out flying in a cold day, make sure you know which one you're pulling or you're going to have a little surprise after a little bit. The mud dauber's free. We need to get that off of there. Anyway, got your rudder pedals on both sides. It's normal, but the brakes are only on one. These are the little heel brakes. If you're not familiar with those, they're different. But I'm going to go ahead and set the brakes. And I just lean my foot in the door, press them down, and then this little handle right here lets me lock them in place. Parking brake. Low light. All right. Oh, of course we got our nifty little compass up here, and this is the trim with a little trim indicator. Fancy stuff. Oh, I forgot on the radio. You got to plug this in to make it work. Oop, only fits on the right one. So now the radio works if you want to use it. All right, so I got my brakes set, I got my tail tied down, and got my throttle out. It's hot today, so I don't really think I need to put anything in. Don't think I need to prime it. Carb heat is...
Getting bit by a bug. Sorry.
You're making for great cinema here. Go ahead and turn my fuel on. leave my mags off. I'm going to pull it through a couple times, maybe 2 times, and then we'll see if this thing will start. All right, so sorry about the interruptions. I think I'm going to give it a little tiny bit of a prime, just because it's been a while. All right, maybe. Usually it's easy enough to start, but I'm worried since I haven't flown it much lately. Oh, I'm looking at the exhaust. I'm sorry. That's how long it's been since I flew. My drip is going to be right there. I got a little oil there, but not fuel yet. Pull it through again. 1, 2, 3. Yep, there it is. Got a drip. So, double check my throttles all the way out. And fuel on. I'm going to go ahead and use my seat belt to keep the wait a second here. All right. Yeah, I want to make sure that tail doesn't come up off the ground. Just going to pull the yoke out all the way. There we are, and mag's hot. And we'll see if the sucker will start up. Well, that's a good sign. I'm probably talking to somebody who knows more than I do, but if you pull it through, you got that motion going, you pull it, nothing happens, you walk back, you pull it, and you start getting in the motion of it. I'm always worried somebody's going to get programmed into that sequence, then it's going to catch and they're going to walk right back in. So I'm always really intentional about waiting to see what's going to happen, even if it looks like nothing's happening. Giving a little throttle there, just a little bit. We got oil pressure, that's a good sign. Guess it hasn't been so long after all. There she is. That's about 1,000 RPM right there. Oil pressure's a little high right now, above the red line, but that's normal when it's cold. That red line's for when you're flying. Anyway, you're probably having a hard time hearing me with all this wind. Brought back to slower idle. All right. Yeah, I should keep running. I could take it out and taxi it now, but I'm not going to, because that'll just make me want to fly, and I can't because my BFR is expired and the annual's out. So that's it. Taylorcraft 39153, November 39153 is the tail number. Sweet little bird. 25 grand. Might be willing to negotiate if it's going to a good home. I'm not going to sell if it's not going to a good home. I love this airplane. That's it. Shut her down. Throttle all the way out. Fuel off. And mags off. All right. I think this airplane would fly just fine now.